For the political page of the Young Turks putting in work, I am Andrew Jones, and first, I'd like to thank all the well wishes for me coming along to the great platform that is the Young Turks and the great community that is built. But now, to the issue at hand. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. Another important election for one of our European allies that would certainly feature a lot of terrible comparisons from cable or centrist powerful media figures who have no idea what the hell they're talking about as usual when it comes to foreign elections. You can expect those ridiculous perspectives from the likes of many at the New York Times to someone like Joy Ann Reid. This is Great Britain's election just a year under what happened in Brexit that caused the terrible David Cameron to resign and to put the even more egregious Theresa May in charge of Britain as Prime Minister. Now you have Margaret Thatcher 2.0 thinking that she's going to be able to consolidate her power fully by calling a snap election so soon because she feels that the Labour Party is so fractured at the moment that she is going to have a wonderful landslide victory and continue her Margaret Thatcher 2.0-ness of being so horrible. But little did she know that Jeremy Corbyn would continue to have his ideals and believe in his ideals and have his popularity augment further and further, despite Labour Party leaders trying to basically sabotage him even harder than Democratic hat centrist figures were trying to do to Bernie Sanders last year. That has led to Theresa May and the Tories lead shrinking considerably on Jeremy Corbyn and how he has a real shot at winning this prime minister's race. And it's a prediction that Jink will certainly remind you that he made just a short while before. And you know he will definitely express how he made that opinion if Corbyn pulls through. But wait, how are we going to tie this to the American angle besides just them being our allies and the situation at hand of just us being globally aware of things? Well, this is very simple, as you probably would know already, is the fact that we've already seen prominent American figures make their stance in regards to the French election. And it begs the question, will any prominent American figures endorse either May or Corbyn? Both of them can't stand President Dump, the nickname that I have for our disgraceful 45th president at the moment. And of course it rhymes with his actual name. And neither he can't stand them as well. Hillary won't put herself probably into it because when she endorsed in France, she actually congratulated Macron after he won. And basically she holds no office. And yet she still made it about herself when she congratulated Macron by tweeting about how she was still aggrieved overall because Hillary has to make it about Hillary. But there is one prominent American political figure that could put himself into endorsement of the British Prime Minister's race, and that one could be President Barack Obama. But wait a minute. Let's analyze how unlikely that is. Obama had no problem placing himself into the French election, and it's not just that he supported Macron, it's when he supported Macron. He could have supported the genuine Jean-Luc Mélenchon before the first election, where the top two would be going into the final election, which unfortunately it was both Macron and La Pathetic Pen. You know that Jean-Luc Mélenchon is even to the left, way to the left of Bernie Sanders and even, you could say, of Corbyn. But Obama, not being liberal progressive, once again showing that he is fully a centrist, had no thought whatsoever of backing Mélenchon. Obama had no problem whatsoever backing Macron. But if you asked him who Mélenchon was, he thought you had mispronounced the word melon wrong because he had no part or wanted any part to deal with a Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Obama, Macron, and other centrists like them always want to make sure that the powerful institutions preserve their power and are stable rather than challenging them, reforming them, or eliminating them altogether for the good of the proletariat to poor class and at the expense of the rich and powerful. It was why, despite Bernie's strong showings in Iowa and New Hampshire to begin the Democratic primary, how Obama wasn't going to come close at all to endorsing or even supporting openly, candidly, enthusiastically Bernie Sanders' campaign. For the Democratic primary, Obama was as silent last year as Michael Flynn is trying to be silent now. It was like the Democratic primary did not exist whatsoever. He never tweeted to go get out the vote, go vote in the Democratic primary at all. He never complained about the lack of debates during the Democratic primary that Debbie Wiseman shows in the DNC schedule. Most importantly, to try to make sure that Hillary wouldn't have any major slip ups or stumbles whatsoever. And Obama never even talked about expanding and making the Democratic primary more open, with open primaries or with registration dates that was actually near the actual primary date and not 5-6 months in advance like here in wonderful Democratic haven of New York, making sure that your registration date to vote in the Democratic primary was a good 5 or 6 months before the primary. Yeah, talk about their own version of voter suppression. And engagement was key for Bernie because he needed as many voters as possible to pull off the upset. And without that engagement, well, we all know what happened. He wanted the primary to be a clear win of Hillary so he wouldn't have to even think about endorsing anyone to the left of her or himself. The minute he saw that Hillary was close to winning, he made sure to then publicly come out saying, we all need to come together. Hey Bernie, maybe you need to think about dropping out now. That's how politically cagey and dishonest some centrists can be, even centrists like Obama, and it shows how ideologically he believes always in the center and dismisses pure leftist candidates. It's why he wasn't even thinking about supporting Bernie at any point throughout the primary. There was no way they were going to come close to supporting or enthusiastically backing Bernie because Bernie was going to mess up their status quo centrism that they always think is the solution rather than outright leftist policies that support the real people in this country that need it and not just preserve the power of the rich. And that was particularly the case after Bernie's shock amazing win in Michigan. Oh, and by the way, Matthew Iglesias, we are still going to clown you each and every day for how you went and tweeted Bernie had no shot whatsoever to win in Michigan, only for you to be embarrassingly wrong and you getting into hissy fit block anger on Twitter by making sure none of us could see your horrible, centrist, arrogant tweets again. So back to Britain, and with Corbyn being even more to the left of Bernie than even you could argue that Bernie is in his wildest dreams, it shows that Obama wouldn't even come close to endorsing Corbyn. There's less of a chance of Obama endorsing Corbyn as Burger King endorsing the Big Mac over the Whopper. Obama endorsing Corbyn would be the most leftist thing by far that he has ever done, eclipsing his opposition to the Iraq War when he wasn't a U.S. Senator yet. It would be an upset even more shocking than the Cavs coming back on the Warriors 3-0, 3-1 last year. By the way, the Warriors in 5 this year, but oh, had they better win before the jokes become 10 times as vicious as they were throughout last summer to this whole entire year. Obama doesn't want to hang around true leftists. He'd rather hang around the likes of Richard Branson or Prince Harry or hang around and work on the Obama Foundation to make it a better Western version of the Clinton Global Initiative, or to just tweet Jimmy Kimmel about their support of the centrist Affordable Care Act, and to have the likes of Aetna, WellPoint, Kaiser Permanente, and the rest of these horrible insurance companies continue to give us misery. But Obama is left with no choices here in the Britain Prime Minister's race. There's no centrist candidate in this race like Macron or Justin Trudeau or Angela Merkel that matches his centrist ideology. It's either terrible, selfish, myopic, Tory conservative and Thatcher 2.0 personality May, or pure leftist and Corbyn support. This is where centrists really, really hate elections like this, because either they have to support real people like us all the way, or show how much they are really frauds and about maintaining their own power and not about serving the people, by actually choosing to back a conservative instead of a leftist candidate, a rational leftist candidate at that. Centrists generally can't stand those to the left of them, as we expose how fraudulent they are. They arguably hate us more than even dealing with right-wing assholes in basket cases, because they know that at least those right-wing a-holes in basket cases will make them look smarter and way more acceptable to the casual political observer. So I would be completely shocked if Obama even came close to Corbyn. And if he did endorse Corbyn, I bet you he would endorse him only 1 or 2 days before the election, where he could say, "Oh, I did endorse him, leftist, so you can't say I didn't because I did." But he would only endorse him in that close period, knowing that Corbyn couldn't actually benefit from that endorsement, or it would be too late to have a significant bounce of approval from getting that endorsement. And truly on the inside eternally, a lot of center-left figures, not only in the UK with the Labour Party, but throughout the world, genuinely do not want Jeremy Corbyn to become Britain's next Prime Minister. Because again, it shows that they would rather have a conservative force be in charge so they can conserve their own rich status quo power, instead of the status quo being shaken up by a leftist rational candidate for the people. But if Corbyn is able to pull off what would be a wonderful upset, Obama certainly won't be among those people that will gleefully cheer that Corbyn got an historic win. But he certainly will have something to say if he feels that he can criticize Corbyn over at the very least bit. For TYT Politics, always trying to cover the real topics, I'm Andrew Jones, and hopefully my earring blinks didn't distract you whatsoever. Peace.